Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we are going to put to the test the new Givenchy Le 9.09 eyeshadow palette. I have never tried this formula before and I am very excited to and very intrigued to. Let's see if I enjoy it, shall we? So if that all sounds interesting to you guys, go ahead and do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. This is the new Givenchy Le 9.09 eyeshadow palette. I am so excited to have finally got my hands on it. It's been released on Nordstrom in America for quite some time, but it wasn't allowed to be shipped to Australia, and I finally got my hands on it at Feel Unique. So I will have the palette link down below for you guys if you're interested in it. It is affiliate link, so if you shop through them, thank you so much. This is the packaging. It is pretty cute. It's got like the little Givenchy stud, and then that's the back of it. I will say it's very light, very cheap feeling. If you're expecting this to come feeling heavy and luxe, you're gonna be disappointed. It's definitely super duper light. Think like almost feels like the Valentino type packaging. So I would personally, given the cost of this, like to see the packaging feel a lot more luxe, but let's go off the quality of the actual eyeshadows. But it's cute to look at. This is also the box that it came in, if you're wondering. So it has like the shade names and the shade formulas here on the back. There's actually 3 formulas in the palette. There is a soft matte, a pearl, and a metallic. There's 1 pearl shade, 3 matte formulas, and then 5 metallic formulas. Now it says that these shadows are made in Italy and that there's a 6-month expiry. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is a 6-month expiry. It could just mean that they only tested the product for 6 months, but you know, it says that it's a 6-month expiry. Let's look in the palette. So this is the little lady right here. I think she's very, very pretty. I really, really do. I've been waiting for a color story that really intrigued me from this brand before I picked it up, because the palettes are about 115 Australian dollars. It also comes with like 2 little, you know, eyeshadow brushes that, to be honest with you, I won't keep, but you might like them. And it does have a mirror as well. What I'm going to do is we're going to do like the full arm swatches and then the individual hand swatches on the back of my hand like we always do, and then we will create a look together. So let's get into it. They were the swatches. I have to say they were very lackluster for me. Not that they weren't nice, they felt very silky and smooth and buttery. They just didn't have a lot of pigment or oomph to them. But swatches don't always indicate the performance of a shadow and what it looks like in the eye and stuff. And this could just be one of those really softer, more satin-like formulas that's really good for more mature lids, or those of us that want a more subtle makeup look. So I'm not holding out judgment. I just was expecting a little bit more from the swatches, if I'm going to be honest. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I've primed my lids using my Nars eye primer already, and don't mind my skin. I probably have said this in a heap of videos, but I have no idea what's going on with it, but it looks like today it's on the verge of full-blown acne, and I don't know why, because I have stopped using anything new. So I have no idea what's going on, so bear with me. We're gonna dip into the palette. I've got a ref of 15 and I'm gonna take this shadow first. This is one of the matte shadows. The matte's surprisingly swatched more pigmented than the metallics. And I will start by fluffing this through the crease. I mean, that actually has a lot of pigment to it, so there you go. Happy days. Blends out nicely so far. Quite lovely, quite lovely. I'm going to tap this on the outer corner as well. I like this shade, it's very pretty. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a taupey cool tone, but it does have a slight mauve lean to it. But it is pretty and it's blending out nicely. I have wanted to try a Givenchy palette for quite some time. I just hadn't kind of seen a color story that I completely wanted to pay $115 for. I don't mind spending the money on the makeup, obviously. I buy Tom Ford and everything. I want it to be a color story that I'm interested in, that's all, which makes sense. I'm putting this on the inner portion of the eye too. I saw this one and I was like, oh, this could be the color story for me. To dip my toes in the Givenchy eyeshadow water. That did blend out really lovely and easily. This would make a nice one and done too. I'm now going to pick up a ref of 14 and dip into this shadow right here and deepen it up a little bit. I'm going to deepen the outer and inner corner up a little bit. Just going to tap. It's kind of like a dark reddy brown is how I would describe this. Mattes perform lovely. They really do. It's a really lovely formula. It's like a softer formula. They're not like crazy pigmented like Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath Labs kind of formula. Think like, oh gosh, maybe a little bit like Viseart, more so like Tom Ford type formula, I think, but softer and easier to blend than a Tom Ford formula. This side might look a little patchy. It's just because I've got like these little red bumps here. I don't know what's going on with my skin, honestly. Let's dip into the metallics now. I'm just going to take the Pat McGrath Labs Intensifies stick and I'm just going to pop it on one eye just to see how it differs and if it makes a difference. So I'm just popping it on the center of the lid because we're going to do a Happy Day eye. I'm going to take my Delium Tools 773 and what shade will I dip into? I think I'll dip into, actually I'm going to dip into this shadow. Yeah, let's do this one. I'll tap it on here first. I haven't wet my brush or anything. This has just got my eye primer on it and we'll see how this performs. Very soft, very satin-like, almost just a matte. So if you have mature lids, I think you'll actually really like this formula because it is not going to enhance texture in any way. I mean, it is pretty, don't get me wrong, it is pretty. I'm not saying it's not pretty. It just depends on if you want like sparkle and intense metallic or if you like a more subtle formula. And I know there's quite a few of you that do like a more subtle formula. This reminds me of a very toned down pink shade. You know the pink shade in Divine Rose 2, that special one? This reminds me of a very toned down version of that shade. It has that same shift. So if you've been looking for that with like a toned down version, then this could be it for you. I like it with the Intensify stick a lot more. It just has a little bit more metallic to it and it just looks a little bit creamier. So I definitely personally like it with the Intensify stick, but it's performed nicely like without it as well. Let's dip into this pearl shade now. So this is the pearl formula. This is an R110 and I'll tap that through the center and see if that adds a little sparkle. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do much. But again, it's a soft formula and I like it on the Intensifies side much better. But up to you, you might really be looking for that. Just taking that Rapha 14 again with that middle brown shade we used, and I'm just going to blendy blend. I'm going to take the Cocoa eyeliner from Victoria Beckham, so this is just the brown one, and I'm going to tightline with it. And then I'm also going to take this Satin Cajole Jewel Liner in the shade Smoky Quartz, and I'm going to create a wing with this. So I've just got a wing brush. This is LH Cosmetics, the 333. And I'm just going to create like a soft kind of smoky wing. I might need to actually draw this on first. I don't want like a really strong wing. I just want a really, really soft one. Let's leave this here for now. I'm going to do the speed through of my base makeup. Everything will be linked down below for you guys. Remember, they are affiliate links, so if you shop through them, thank you so much. And then we'll come back, finish up the eyes and lips, and I will try and remember to also not do my highlighter and blush in the speed through as well, so we can do that together. And then we will wrap up my final thoughts. So let's do it. Base makeup is on up till bronzer. I also just put my Victoria Beckham eye brightener on my lower waterline. So let's take a Sephora Precision Shadow Brush, and I'm going to dip into this matte shadow and run that underneath the lower lash line here. And then just a kiss of that middle brown on the same brush, and I'll just tap it up to the lash line. Just taking this middle shade right here on a little domed brush, and I will tap that into the inner corner. Nice. All right, Victoria Beckham Future Lash Mascara. Those are the eyes. They've turned out quite pretty. They really have. Let's finish off the face. What will we use for highlighter and blush? Let me have a look. For liquid highlighter, I'm going to take my Eldrideg Pink Moon elevated highlighter, I think it's called, and I'm just gonna pick it up on my sponge. Perfect. And then for powder highlight over the top of that, I'm just gonna take Nars Capri. For cream blush, I'm gonna take my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin blurring blush in Rosé and Brunch, and I'm just working it into a Refa 37, and I will lightly apply that. And then to set that, I'm going to take my Dior Rosewood blush. This is one of the new shades, and I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. And this is just my Smashbox buildable cheek. For lips, I'm going to take Pat McGrath Labs Lip Liner in Contour. And then the Hourglass Unlocked Lipstick in Tide. And I'm just going to do the outer, I'm going to leave the center free is what I'm trying to say. And then I'm going to take Breathless from Nars. Pop that in the center. Perfect. All right, let me go figure out jewelry and all that kind of stuff, and we'll zoom out and see the finished look, and I will give you my thoughts on this palette. Alrighty, and this is the finished makeup look using the new Givenchy Le 9.09, what a name, palette. What do you guys think? I think that the eye look looks very soft, very wearable, almost like a soft glam romantic vibe. And so I think for this palette, if you are someone that really likes that softer, subtle formula, if you have really textured eyelids, this is probably going to be a palette for you that you would really, really enjoy. I'm not going to speak to the Givenchy eyeshadow palettes as a whole because this is the only one I've tried, but for this one, this formula is very, very subtle, very soft. It blended out beautifully, it applied beautifully, the application was a joy. But it is subtle and softer and definitely non-texturizing on the lids. So if you're expecting a Natasha Denona type formula, if you're expecting a Pat McGrath Labs formula, like that wham bam thank you ma'am, like an indie formula, definitely not the palette for you. If you're expecting like, I guess that softer Tom Fordish type formula, that kind of a thing, what I would imagine the Chanel formula almost to be like as well, but I can't speak to that because I've never tried it, you know, then that's what you're gonna get with this. So it's up to you and dependent on like whether or not, or where your eyeshadow preferences lie. Because I know some people want that Pat McGrath Labs, Natasha Denona Wham Bam, and some people really like that more subtle toned down look. So that's up to you. Everyone's value of $1 is different, so only you can decide that for yourself. I enjoyed the palette. I think it was impeccable quality. I don't think I'd be rushing out to try any more of the palettes just because I think this turned out beautiful, but also I'm one of those people that does like that, like, you know, more intense formula. But I do think that this is really, really a lovely formula and I did enjoy playing with it. So that is all my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Did you pick this palette up? Have you tried any of their other palettes? What do you think about the Givenchy eyeshadow formula? And yeah, just let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I love chatting with you guys. If you're here till this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate it. And I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.